Hi, I thought I would do a quick little analysis on the LinkedIn Live charity book auction that I ran today because sometimes you just don't know stuff until you go and do stuff. And I think it turned out really, really well. I'm really excited, but I always like to now look back at things and see what would I have done differently? What did I do good? What did I do not so good? And this will help me and perhaps help you with if you ever want to do something like this yourself. So I thought, while it's fresh in my head, I would just go through and just kind of check it all out. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So there is a picture of our LinkedIn Live and how we all started. Now, one thing I have to tell you is never do these things the day after LinkedIn makes some big changes, because the first thing that happened to us today was we went to go live and we couldn't go live because LinkedIn had done an announcement yesterday about how it was changing and doing some things. So when we went to go live and we hit that live button, we got a message that said, difficulties on LinkedIn, can't go live right now. And it was just like, oh no. So we kind of, took a deep breath and then, kind of waited a couple seconds, hit the button, and we went live. So that's why we look really startled at the beginning, because we were like not sure it was even going to work. So that's just kind of the luck of the draw, and there's not much you can do with that. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about layout, because layout's really important on how things are going to look when you go live. I spent a lot of time fiddling around with, making this look good. And I just wanted to point out that I thought I did a really good job of incorporating John Esperion's brand colors, and I was able to create this background in Canva, and I thought I did a really good job for that. And I also included his brand colors in our name titles and that sort of thing. So I think I got the layout good, and I was really happy with that. And I tested it to make sure when we shared a screen, how was it going to look? So I did a number of different things. So do fiddle with the layout. You might have to do a couple tries to see how it's going to look. And I use Canva for doing my backgrounds, and I also use Canva for doing my overlays as well. And just as a tip, in StreamYard, you want your overlays to be transparent, or else they're going to block you out. So that's important too. So you want to test everything and make sure you do that well. So let's go on to the overlay. So the one thing about the overlay is that I put the QR code, and I should have made it smaller. See how it kind of goes over top of my picture. So that's not something I didn't test and really think about. Was that too big to have the QR code be that big? And also too, where I have right here, let me play it just so that you can kind of see it. There you go. So you can see it playing now. We did a really good job of having a shortened URL to get to the bid form, but only I knew that was the URL. What I should have had is something that said bid form : and then URL, or bid URL or something, because people were confused and didn't exactly know where they were supposed to be bidding. So that was a mistake on my part, where we make an assumption that everybody's going to understand your logic, and they're not always going to understand your logic. So I think that's just really important to note. Is this, if somebody comes into your live in the middle, are they going to know where to go? So I think the QR code was fine, probably a bit smaller, but I would change the link to the URL. Okay, so now we are showing where you're actually going to do the bid, and we use Jotform in order to do this. So that's just so if you want to know what we use Jotform. I have a premium version of Jotform, and it was really good to use that. So I like that. So one thing about the Jotform that I wish I had maybe put the URL on the Jotform. So that actually might have been better, so that people could have seen there's the URL, because again, they might be looking at it and thinking they got to type in that great big long URL that's in the Jotform. So yeah, it's just picky, but that's just something. If I could go back in my time machine, I would put access this bid form here and maybe put the URL. Okay, so now let's scoot along to the leaderboard. So the leaderboard was where we were actually showing our submissions to the bid, and they displayed on the screen. So the first thing I'm pausing it there. The first thing was, I wish I had made the columns narrower. They were too wide. So there was really only the submission date. Let's see if we're pausing. There we go. So we had a submission date and time, which was good because it was captured as a CSV file. And we did have those kind of records. So that was really good because we kept track of everything. But the name field was good. But the amount, the bid amount, that didn't need to be so wide. So if I narrowed that in, I think it would have made it easier to read. So again, just not something I even saw. And then as we got more and more bids, because my QR code was so big, it started to cover up over top of what the bids were. So that's just something that I wish I had done differently. And also too, do you notice the blank? Well, the blank was a bit of a time lag, and I did not think that I should just be, I thought it was pushing through. I should have been refreshing the page just to make sure that every single bid was coming through, and those blanks were an indicator something wasn't right, and I was just not catching that. So again, that's going back in my time machine. I wish I had refreshed, and I would have got rid of a lot of confusion by doing that. And another thing is, during this part where we were showing the leaderboard, I wish I had taken advantage of StreamYard's ability to have a banner down at the bottom of the screen that would have said what round we were in. So auction number 4 or auction number 1 or something along that lines. That's another thing I wish I had done. And that would just be as simple as turning on a banner and having that displayed along the bottom of the screen. So again, another thing I wish I had thought about that I did not. Next up was we set a time of 2 minutes for each auction, and you can't see it, but I actually had a Chrome extension that was my timer, and I saw it and I heard it, but I don't think anybody else heard it and saw it. And that's just something that I wish I had thought of, a better way to do that. And to be honest with you, I still don't really know what else I could have used, because I can't have multiple screens. So I couldn't have a Google timer or something on another screen. So maybe just a physical timer in my hand would have been a lot louder, because I don't know if everybody was hearing it besides me. So that would have been one thing I wish I could change, a more distinct way of hearing the timer. I would have loved to had an actual countdown that was across the screen. So if anybody knows how to do that, please let me know, because that was my wish, and I was looking for something like that last night, and coming up with the Google Chrome extension was the best that I could come up with. Okay, so all in all, I would just have to tell you, to do something like this literally takes a village to run an auction like this. We had, of course, John Asperian, who wrote the book. I was here supporting it with my StreamYard account. We had Liam joining us, and he did his great auctioneer voice, which was really fun to add to the mix. And we had my husband, Devin, standing by. He did all the sort of Wizard of Oz behind the curtains stuff. He was maintaining the Jotform and clearing out the board and doing the CSV files and downloading it and refreshing it. And he did all that background work for us, which was awesome. I'm so glad he did that. So here we had 4 people. But we were missing one more important person, and that would have been somebody to monitor the comments. We did not even think, I didn't not even think about the comments until after the live was over. And I was sick to my stomach when I learned we had 93 comments. And I have to give a shout out to the people in the comments that were helping the people in the comments. People like Rebecca Wilson was telling people, click to get the QR code, and here's the link, and putting it in, and Rachel put it in. A lot of people were helping out in the comments, because that was just something that my mind was out of here. So having somebody assigned in StreamYard as part of our team to handle the comments probably would have been a good thing. And also too, it really would have helped to have a second screen. I have a laptop. I have one screen. So I had, I had another window open. And so between the window and the live stream, I was maxed out. I could not do any more. And that's why I did not notice the comments. So here's where you go, probably is good to have a professional StreamYard person doing all this stuff for you. But I think just having that one extra pair of hands to handle the comments, that would have helped immensely. But all in all, I just want to say everybody was awesome. I felt this was a wonderful auction for such a wonderful cause. We did raise the money. We set out to have a goal. We set the goal. We met the goal. We did it. And this is the first time ever doing something like this. And I encourage people, sometimes we just have to grow and step outside of our comfort zone. I had a panic attack this morning for like 2 seconds going, what if this doesn't work? And then I just decided, you know what? We're learning, we're growing, trust the process. You can do it. And we did it. We did it. We did it. We raised money, and John got his final books out to excellent people that want to support this cause and now are going to have their autographed copy of Content DNA coming their way. So anyways, this is my analysis, and I hope that this helps anybody. And if anything, it will help me to be better at doing things like this in the future.